On October the 3rd of 1999, tourists flocked to the beautiful Maling River Canyon to marvel at the stunning scenery the area had to offer. Unfortunately, the unsuspecting tourists had no idea of the horror they were about to endure. Whilst riding the cable car up the mountain, disaster struck, which sent the car and passengers plummeting towards the ground at a rapid speed. But how did the car come to fall? This is the horrific story of the Maling Gorge Cable Car disaster. Aerial cable cars are a popular attraction at tourist destinations all over the world. This is especially true in China, where all of the country's most famous scenic mountainous areas have cable cars that many tourists from around the globe frequently use. The Maling River Canyon, also known as a beautiful scar on the earth, was no different. The Maling River Canyon is located at the juncture of Yunnan, Jiangxi, and Zhejiang provinces in Zhejiang City, and is famous for its deep gorge, jungle, and waterfalls. Tourists can either float down the river at the bottom of the canyon or walk along the man-made trail to take in the scenery. During the 1990s, they offered a cable car ride across the gorge, starting at the bottom and ending at the top, which proved to be very popular. The 3rd of October 1999 was a beautifully sunny day, which saw tourists flock to the destination to take in what the area had to offer. A queue for the cable cars soon formed, and management saw a huge chance for profit, which unfortunately they would later come to regret. When the cable car originally opened, the max capacity was 20 people. This was later reduced to 10. The construction was straightforward, with the gondola supported by 2 steel cables and raised and lowered by a hoist and steel rope. However, the designers didn't even have the relevant construction qualifications to tackle a project such as this. Although the max capacity for the car was 10, due to the queue forming that morning, 36 tourists were crammed onto the car and sent up. The group consisted of parents and children, all excited for the ride ahead, but unaware of the disaster that was about to come. The car climbed to a height of more than 100 meters before reaching the top. The cable car abruptly slid back before the tourists could open the door and exit. A loud noise emitted from the cable car, and tourists on the platform at the starting point began to scream. Suddenly, the cable car plummeted from the sky with tremendous force, landing onto the ground below. The glass in the cable car shattered, and people collided into each other. 14 out of the 36 on board died, 7 of them dying on impact. Arms and legs were broken, and bone was pierced through muscle and skin, which made the mountain roads below run red with blood. According to Juan Janito, a tourist who was at the scene, the cable car crashed next to him with such a huge force it made an air wave that overturned the ground. Horrified onlookers quickly pried open the cable car doors with branches and began carrying out the injured. It took 20 minutes to get everybody out. Due to there being no signal on the mountain, people ran up and down to try and find help. When they eventually did, more than 100 armed cops arrived at the scene. All of the wounded were carried to the top of the mountain and taken to hospital. Blood covered all involved in the rescue. The city did go to great lengths to save the injured. Several of the hospitals in the province quickly mobilized and accepted the injured. A 2.5-year-old boy named Panzio was the least injured out of the 22 tourists who survived. According to witnesses, his parents cradled him in their arms when they fell, which saved his life. Unfortunately, the 2 parents weren't so lucky, and both died on impact. An investigation was launched, which found that the cable car hadn't been maintained properly. Due to this, the brakes failed when the cable car fell. As there was no brake, the car rapidly fell down the rope, causing it to snap off and plummet to the ground. The reason it fell to begin with was because it was overfilled. The car was 26 people over the maximum capacity, which is absolutely outrageous. This was all done for profit. 6 people, including the designer Li Yongfeng, and the management and construction team, were criminally detained, and a compensation of 100,000 yen, which is approximately £11,000, was given to each of the victims. The sources for this video are mostly in Chinese, but from what I could find, they were sentenced to 5 to 6 years in prison each. Although Pan's life would never be the same, he was thankfully adopted by famous Chinese singer Han Hong after she learned about his situation on the news. Han Hong raised him well, and thankfully today, he is doing a lot better. Pan claims to miss his parents, but is forever thankful to Han Hong for adopting him and bringing him up. For me, this was definitely the saving grace of this story. Unfortunately today, there still exist all to no comprehensive systems or regulations in place regarding cable cars in China. This continues to lead to problems, and according to Know Thyself and others, the neglected risks of China, this is a reality that China-bound travellers should always keep in mind.